Hello friends, this is Dr. Vijay Kumar. I am welcoming you all in my lecture on the topic regression lines. Friend, in this series of regression lectures, in the last video I discussed about introduction of regression. In this video I will discuss about the concept of regression lines. In the next few videos I will discuss about the regression coefficient, usage of regression, comparison between correlation and regression. In the last video I will discuss about few solved example based upon regression concept. First, a brief introduction about the regression equation. For every series of bivariate data, two regression equations are derived. For example, regression equation of x on y that uses to draw the regression line of x on y, and the regression equation of y on x that is used to draw the regression line of y on x. So in the case of bivariate data, we have two variables. One is dependent variable and other is independent variable. One is x and another is y. So using independent variable we can estimate the dependent variable. So by using these two values, value of independent variable and value of dependent variable, which is predicted by using regression equation, we can draw the regression line. In the next few slides we will see how to draw that regression line. So using the two regression equations, two regression lines, one x on y and another y on x, can be drawn. So we have a regression equation. By using that regression equation we can estimate the value of a dependent variable which we do not know. And when we have data related to x and y, then using these data we can draw a line. Suitable values of the variable x are chosen and their corresponding y values are estimated using regression equation of y on x. The chosen x values and the estimated y values are plotted to draw the regression line of y on x. So suppose the regression equation is, one of the regression equation is y equal to a plus bx, where x is the independent variable and y is the dependent variable. B is the slope of the line, or it is the regression coefficient, and A is the intercept. So using this equation we can predict the value of y. y is dependent variable and x is independent variable, we have value of x. By using regression concept, we determine the regression value of regression coefficient or slope of the line. We estimate the parameter a, that is intercept, and by using this equation we can predict the value of dependent variable for each animal for which we have value of independent variable. So in this way, for each animal in the population we have value of x and y. Now when we have value of x and y, in that case in the graph paper we have one x axis, we have another y axis. By using these two axes, put one variable on one axis, another variable on another axis, and try to put a point on the graph paper using these two values. So suppose x variable is values for x variable is present on the x axis and values for the y axis is present on the y axis. We have value 5 on the x axis and for this corresponding y value is 10. So try to get a point with respect to value 5 and value 10 in the x and y axis. So by extrapolating the line we can get a point which is by meeting these two points. So now we have one point for each animal. In this way, by getting so many points we can get a regression equation for regression line for y on x. In the similar way, suitable y values are chosen and their corresponding x values are estimated using the regression equation of x on y. The chosen y values and their estimated x values are plotted to draw the regression line x on y. So similar way as we exercised in the first case, y on x regression line, similarly we can also draw regression line for x on y. Now I will discuss few properties of regression line. The first property: if the correlation between the two given variable is perfectly positive as shown is in the figure 1, or perfectly negative as shown in the figure 2, the two regression line will coincide, superimpose with each other. That is, there will be only one regression line representing both x on y and y on x. So friend, if correlation is perfectly positive or perfectly negative, in that case both regression lines, regression line for x on y and regression line for y on x, both are superimposing. First case, when correlation is perfect positive, is shown in figure 1, and when correlation is perfectly negative, for that figure is available in the figure 2. Second property: if the degree of correlation between two given variable x and y is higher, that is when the value of correlation is close to either -1 or +1, the two regression lines will be closer to each other as in figure 3. So if your correlation is very near to +1 or -1, in that case both regression line for x on y and regression line for y on x, both regression line will be very close to each other. The angle between these two lines will be very less angle, and this is shown in the figure 3. On the other hand, if the correlation between the two variables is low, that is when correlation coefficient is close to 0, the regression lines will be farther apart as in figure 4. If the correlation coefficient is very low, it's close to 0, then in that case both regression line y on x and x on y both will be very farther apart. Thus the angle between the two regression line is an indication of the closeness or farness between the two variables. So if your angle between these two lines is less angle, in that case you can say that your these two variables are very close. These two variables are very much correlated. They are very much dependent. If this angle between these two regression line, if these are farther apart, in that case you can say that these two variables are not very related, not very interdependent. When there is no correlation between two variables, that is when correlation coefficient is 0, the two regression lines intersect each other at right angle as shown in figure 5. So if in the case of no correlation, the two regression line x on y and regression line y on x both will be intersect each other at right angle. In that case you can say that there is no correlation between these two variables. So friend, this is all about the concept of regression lines. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you very much.